If you're a holder of Solana and or Luna, what this video is going to be, it's not going to cover fundamentals. It's not going to tell you what the projects are getting ready to do. Rather, I'm going to show you from a charting standpoint what you might expect and or look for within the price so that you have a better idea of what you're doing as you click around with your money. Usually my channel covers a lot of altcoins, as you might check out in my library of Bitcoin and or altcoin videos, pretty dominated by a lot of altcoin videos and how to trade them. However, right now I'm going to cover these two big cap coins because they are the talk of the town. They're doing very impressive things, and I'm making this video with hopes that I'm going to bring a lot of people who are more fundamentalists who don't know what they're doing when they're looking at charts, and I want to show you from a fresh perspective. I haven't been analyzing these charts. When I sit down, what am I looking at, so that you can have a better idea of what you might want to look at as well. So here we go. Let's jump into it. And at the end of the video, if you like what you see here, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you do subscribe, let me know if you want to be a cryptilian or a crypto crackhead. Those are the gender neutral pronouns of this community. And if you're new, turn it up to ×2 volume speed, because initiation of timification is much better in that way when I'm talking a little faster. And let's get after it. For returning folks who are interested in these coins, go ahead and hit a thumbs up for me here. I got some dorks who only come to my channel immediately after uploading a video to hit thumbs down. Not sure if they're paid employees or not. Go ahead and hit thumbs up for me before I begin, and let's go. So first thing I'm doing here is I'm going to flip across time frames to see if I can find a clean chart. And what I mean by clean is, when I'm using EMAs, I want to see something that gets price action correct in specific terms of when price is above, that's good. When price is below, that's bad. Okay. And so right before making this video, I actually accidentally had it on the daily 200 from my Bitcoin video that I just recently uploaded. And I saw, wait, that's the chart. I usually like to use the 10 EMAs to find out which one is getting price action right. However, right now, the daily 21 EMA, and if you don't know how to do that, you might want to, I'm going to do a little tag thing. You should see it pop up on your phone or on your screen to show you how to set up a chart like mine. So if you haven't done that, check out that video after watching this one. So this chart looks pretty clean with this 21 daily EMA. I'm on the daily chart. Look where my cursor is hovering up here. I'm on the day. So I'm not on the 12-hour. I'm on the day for those of you who are new here. So if Solana is above that yellow line, the daily 21, good. Is it above it? Yeah, generally good. So right now, things are looking pretty nice. Let's zoom in on the last time it started going below it. What kind of warning signs could you have gotten that price was going to start generally going below? Well, you can see a lot of bearish divergence. Also, that should be within the how to set up a chart video as well. So let me actually mark this so you can see. This height here was a much lower high in RSI that essentially got rejected from this green zone. So let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm saying. And again, if you want to see this same RSI, check out that how to set up a chart video that I already linked up at the top. And it should be linked in the bottom as well, in the description section. So you had a lower high, but a higher high in price. That is the definition of bearish divergence when using RSI. You can have bearish divergence on MACD and all that kind of stuff. So is Solana making a lower high in RSI? No, it's making a higher high right now as we speak. So that means that as Solana's RSI comes down like this, these whole times, it will be making higher highs. It doesn't even have one strike of bearish divergence on the daily. So this run does not look like it's over. Okay, so this is, again, I did not spend time analyzing this chart before. This is how I just do most charts. Now, looking at this, I could draw some parallel lines here, not horizontal, but parallel, and I'm going to connect some really, really big areas here. So where might Solana stop? Well, I would bet my personal bottom dollar, it's going to stop at this line. So the more days it takes to get there, the higher it'll go before it has a downturn. And likely goes below its 21 EMA, which means generally bad for a while. So this has got more in it, it looks like. So look how it tagged that line, then went below the 21, generally bad. Tagged the line, actually twice, which could happen again. It could go like this. But it tagged the line, got rejected from it, went below the 21, generally bad. And it happened perfectly with Bitcoin's downturn. Wow, it's kind of impressive. Honestly, Solana might be a good way to figure out when the market is going to make a higher low here, a definitive higher low. That actually kind of called it perfectly. All right, so where is Solana going? Well, I think it's going to go to that line. Will it pass that line? I highly doubt it will. However, what I would say is what it could do is it could come up here, consolidate, and do it again, and then go up to 300. And that's only in late October. So this line will probably end up being some upper resistance for quite some time, and perhaps for the life cycle of the entire coin. But you can then draw more parallel lines once it does tag it and comes down to where will it go once that time comes. And again, for Solana folks who said, no, it's going to go above that line, go watch my, go back in one of my videos and look at the comments in regard to BEPRO. I think it was March 16th. It's my thumbnail where I'm holding a fireball. I did the same basic stuff. And I kept telling people, hey, and it wicked above. BEPRO price wicked above the same type of line. I was like, folks, right now selling is a winning strategy. And price can come all the way back down to a penny from 4.3 cents. And it actually did. It went much lower than a penny, actually. But no one believed it. Everybody thought both that, oh, it's going to keep going. And everybody said, no, no way it's going to hit a penny. It actually hit a fifth of a penny, right? So these lines work. So it might be pretty unbelievable what I'm saying to you. Like, no, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, it's going to go above that line. Yes, it could. It could. But the thing is, it's the statistical likelihood of it getting above there. It's pretty low. Pretty low and staying above there. All right, so let's keep drawing some of these lines here, whipping these up. All right, that feels about right. So right now you can see that taking profits between these two top lines has historically been a pretty good idea. Now, taking profits right when it enters, maybe not so much, because it kept going for quite some time. So let's kind of take a look at this. Let's make some guesses here. So from the time it crossed to the time it dipped below its daily 21, that's 26 days. From the time it crossed here to the time it, tanked, 31 days. So it's just now getting above. So let's go 28 days in the future. September 30th. This would be a guess. It's just a guess. It's an educated guess, but somewhere around there. So regardless of when Solana hits that line, let's say it hits it later or earlier, it doesn't matter. I would still take the same principles. I would put my guard up and start thinking, okay, it might bounce up to that line a couple more times, and then that would be a good time to really consider taking profits. Maybe not sell 100% of your Solana, but let me take a look at the link I'm putting up above. It's called 10-bag theory. You can check that out and apply different numbers to it. You can do 20-bag, 30-bag, depending on how aggressively you want to accumulate this coin without buying any more of it with your hard-earned money. You can earn money by trading just a small portion of your Solana back, right? For example, selling with the first time it hits it, perhaps not financial advice, selling 5% of your Solana. The next time it hits it, from the original amount, sell 15% of your Solana. If it hits it a third time, sell another 15% of your Solana, and then buy, once it comes back down, just buy lower, 20% lower, and then you have more Solana. If you like Solana, you sell Solana. Do you sell all of your Solana? No. I not financial advice, but you don't have to do that. Okay? These are just suggestions about what I would do and what I'm thinking. I'm not telling anybody what you should do. When you click around with your money, you are ultimately responsible. I'm simply showing you, as somebody who's looked at charts for years and years and years, for over 20 hours a week, and since February, it's more like 50 hours a week. These are the things going through my head. Some very, very simple strategies here that'll help you in your crypto journey. All right, so right now, Solana, honestly, that's what I'm looking at. Now, I am a little, I guess you might not call it obsessed, but I'm a weekly 10 person, okay? I like seeing price action hit the weekly 10. However, on this asset, it is so bullish that honestly, it just lifts off. So personally, on this one, for my returning viewers, even though it respected the weekly 10 forever, so this is awesome. This could be a pretty big jump, actually. Yeah, it looks like it's going to hit that line pretty easily. Yeah, it really did respect the 10 for a heck of a long time. So see this red line, how price was hanging around it for quite some time without being super volatile around it? It respected it for an entire 77 days and launched it off of it. So this could launch pretty far. So when it does come back down and base off of it, I would assume that Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin does not crash, I would think that Solana would come back and touch this red line wherever it is at the time, you know, price is coming down, let's say in October. And it might base way up there at about 152 bucks. After coming up here, it might come down slowly and try it all over again. So that would be a downside target for me if the market is staying very strong at that point. So that's what I'm seeing with Solana. Honestly, this chart looks really good. And the coins that are getting, you know, hyped up, even though this seems to be getting hyped for a reason, I can see it in the charts. Like, it might have hype, but it's not just some empty hype. This looks like it has hype for a darn good reason. This, honestly, folks, if you're a Solana fan, I mean, congratulations, especially if you're not just in it now, you've been in it for a while. That was a hell of a pick. Even, I don't know crap about it, but this chart looks amazing. And I'm sure whatever they're doing fundamentally and the reason people are bullish, the chart is telling me buyers have good reason to be buyers. So, and again, not financial advice. So congratulations on choosing this. I missed out on this one. This just looks awesome. Yeah, I could just sit here and look at this chart for a little bit, a little bit longer. Man, yeah, that's really pretty. So let's go to Luna. I'm going to do the same thing with Luna. And I'm going to start off the same way, but I am going to use the 10 for this one though. I'm going to try to find what is it respect. Honestly, yeah, it's respecting the daily 10 pretty well. Let's see if I can find another one. 2-day. Honestly, the 2-day chart looks cleaner than the daily. Okay, so if you're a Luna fan, looking at the 2-day chart might be, you know, where it's at in terms of, is this generally good? Is this generally bad? Does it have more in it? Is it getting ready to move down? So what I mean by that is, if you are below the red line, generally bad. So here it looks like it based off of it, since the slope never got negative, and it might have closed maybe one candle below. But honestly, it looks like it didn't. It looks like it might have wicked below and closed right at it. So that almost looks like what might be ready to happen right here as well, because it's starting to lose a lot of its slope. All right. So whatever happened here might end up happening here, but also it could turn into a downturn, right? It could. But you'll know if a 2-day candle starts closing below, then you get another close below. Well, then that might be time to start, taking Pokemon card profits, selling some Pokemon cards that have Luna on it. Not financial advice, for entertainment and education purposes only. Yeah, so look, it just wicked below it. So this honestly might be the one chart to rule them all for Luna. The 2-day chart, just throw on one EMA and you'd be probably sitting pretty good. So that's the first thing I'm looking at. Second thing I want to look for, is there any bearish divergence right here? There definitely is on the 2-day, because you're making lower highs. You're making lower highs on the RSI, but higher highs on price. Let's look what it's doing on the daily, though. Yeah, so you do have a lot of strikes of bearish divergence here. Let me look at the higher time frames. Yeah, this one actually looks like it wants to cool off for a little bit. Maybe not that much. This one's a little bit different. Solana's definitely a lot. This looks like it's potentially running out of steam or out of steam already, where it might want to cool down. Because you have a negative slope on the weekly RSI, which looks like it wants to tag both. So here, this is what I think might happen on Luna. It looks like RSI wants to come down and retest the bullish control zone as the EMA of RSI comes to it as well. It wants to tag it and then make a decision. Am I going to continue bullish, or will I go below it and use it as resistance and go like this? Which would be a pretty big downturn. Would that be all at once, like a massive week down? No, slowly trickle down, similar to how Luna prices acted before, like this. You know, just kind of a slow trickle down. Well, this is a big trickle, but something like this. I wouldn't expect a dump for Bitcoin to 29K, which would bring Luna down. But structurally, it looks like it might want to recheck the former high. That'd be no, it's probably not going to do that. Bitcoin would have to drop for Luna in this situation to come down 30% to tag its previous high. This chart's a little trickier. And again, I did not do this before, so I want you to see what, like, the process I go through when I just start staring at a chart, because I feel, especially for new viewers, which is why I'm making this, essentially my clickbait video here, I think it might be the most helpful for you. So I feel like I'm missing something here. So what if Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano don't take a downturn? I really don't anticipate Luna's going to retest this. That's too big of a drop, I would feel. What I think would happen is I think Solana might chill out and go sideways a little bit and down, and it's going to wait to hit this 10 EMA before popping off of it. So, and it would probably look something like this. So it chilled, didn't crash, hit that line, closed above it, nice green week. And once that happens, let's say that does happen, without anticipating a big downturn, if the rest of the market is solid, then Luna would probably then keep flying. If Bitcoin's making all-time highs, you know, around that time, or flirting with all-time highs, Solana or Luna would probably keep going. But I think it looks like Luna needs to touch its weekly 10. But because the weekly 10 is a good 40% below current price action, what that 35%, what that means to me is that it's going to go sideways and consolidate for several weeks. That's what I'm seeing for Luna. Now, for those of you who think that's bad, it is not bad. So don't say, oh, you know, this is my coin, it's going to keep going up. It's not bad for your money. If you like Luna, you sell some Luna, not financial advice, Pokemon cards that say Luna. Let me show you. If it ranges and goes sideways, I promise you, in a short-term time frame or even mid-term time frame, playing a range with, let's say, 20% of your Luna, buying and selling only 20%, not touching 80%, for example, per that 10-bag video, but applying 20% instead of 10%. So 10-bag means 10% of your all Luna. That's the portion of your Luna that you buy and sell to gain more, right? but a 20 bag is using 20%. Sorry. So it's just a percentage of that one asset that you own, not all of your portfolio, but of that one, right? So, but what I want to promise you is sideways movement in a range can be way more profitable than just sitting there with your bag and hoping for it to go up. Because when you play ranges and you get more Luna, when it does go up, what happens? You have more Luna that's going up. It's more profitable, I swear. And for newer viewers who I grabbed with this clickbait video here, it's not technically clickbait, but I don't cover these coins much, but I'm doing it to try to get more people to look at charts so that you know what you're doing when you're clicking around, know what to expect. It can be way more profitable. So let me show you a little bit about what I'm talking about here. So let's dive in on this range here. Okay, so I'm going to make a box. Actually, no, it's not make a box because then it's going to be color on the inside. Make it a little hard to see. And I will go to, let's say, a 4-hour chart. And then I'll zoom in on that box. I'll get rid of EMAs. Heck, let's make it a 2-hour chart. Watch. Once there is some sort of range established, right? So in order to have a range, you need previous price action to sort of kind of establish a range. So this would be almost impossible. This would be pretty hard to trade. I wouldn't trade a range that small. That's a tiny range. However, once you're in a range, you can usually see just 3 different points. Your top point, your bottom point, and your point of control, which is usually in the middle. And what your point of control does is it tells you if price is bouncing off of it, generally good. Similar to the idea on Luna, the 2-day 10 EMA, and on Solana, the daily 21 EMA, generally above it, or if it's above it, generally good. So it's almost like that same EMA concept, right? And you can trade within there with those simple principles. If you get a nice bounce off here, well, then if you get a bounce, it's either going to come touch this line or something in between where previous price had a lot of activity, right? Like this. And guess what happened? It did exactly that. Bounced right up to that line. And that's pretty much, and you can do it the opposite way too. If you have sold and you see your point of control get lost and there wasn't a bounce, and then it comes up and gets rejected from it, that means, wait, I might want to wait to buy because it might hit or form a lower end of the range, especially if it's its first time hitting that middle zone here, and then bam, form the bottom of the range. Okay, and you can see here with this bottom of the range, a lot of folks thought it was going to bounce, and when price went back, they became buyers, and it got rejected by that exact same line here. And then it continued down. I'm actually really surprised there wasn't a bounce at that line. There's a bounce after because people thought, no, it's going to go straight back into the range. This is, this is a bear trap. That's likely what was happening there. So you got to bounce below it, and that's pretty bearish. So that is the general way to play ranges. You have a middle point of control, a high end, a low end, and then your 2 lines between the middle and the. You have 1 line between the middle and the top, 1 line between the middle and the bottom. You just play among those. Buy, sell, those lines. So one more time, high end already drawn, a low end drawn, point of control about right here, and then somewhere in the middle of those, you just draw a line. And each of those lines, or the bottom 2, are typical buy areas. The middle line is a buy and sell area, and these 2 are both sell areas. It's that simple. Is it actually simple? Absolutely not, because let's say you think that Solana is going to bounce from here, and it doesn't, and actually, it didn't even look like a bounce. You thought Solana was going to get rejected from here, and you bought at this bounce, and you sold here and it keeps going up, well, yeah, you're not going to trade perfectly. Sometimes that does happen because it did look like it was going to get rejected. It had some red candles immediately after hitting. It kind of looked like it wanted to do this, but it kept going. So it's not always exactly that easy, but that's the general concept. And you can make a lot of money playing a range. So if Solana were to form a range, let's say this ends up being the high point. And honestly, this line here might be the low. It might hit that line actually, because this looks like it might be the middle point of control. So the range hasn't formed yet, but you can make educated guesses that, hey, this might be the middle point of control. You might draw these lines in. So I'm on the 2-hour chart, but where you got those two bounces on the 2-hour chart, that could end up shaping up to be the middle point of control. So if you see Solana go below this line, and let's pull up, actually, let's go to the 2-day 10. The 2-day 10 is above that. So if Solana goes below that line, that's not bad in and of its, that is bad in and of itself, but it's actually double bad because you had a warning shot before there, because generally bad if you're closing candles below that, but even worse if you're closing candles below that, which means it would then probably hit that green line, which is about 34% below here. So you can make a guess of where this range is going to be with the idea that the likelihood of it starting a range is pretty high at this point. It looks pretty high to me. It could do another couple pushes. It absolutely could, making this the middle point of control, this the low end, and its next push is the high end, and then it consolidates. That could absolutely happen as well. So if you see a breakout over this line on a 4-hour candle, a 4-hour candle closes above $36.64, well, that means that this might end up being either the middle point of control or the line that is between the middle point of control and the top end. So then you'll have the top end, your line, some middle point of control here potentially, your something to that effect. You would just move up your range lines, right? And that could end up happening. However, right now it looks like it's getting ready to start ranging. I would guess there's a decent chance that this ends up being the top of the range should it start ranging. And so if this were to happen, you might even have to go to the 1-hour chart to try to start guessing where is that line between my middle point of control and the top end. Let's get rid of the EMA so it's cleaner. Right here. So if you want to draw these lines in, if you're a Luna fan, I mean, honestly, I would follow along. Like, go back to this video, save it, and draw these same lines in on the same time frame. I'm on the 1-hour time frame right now. And so if I'm guessing this is your lower point of control, which this honestly might be the bottom of the range. I really don't know instead of this, but let's just make an educated guess that this is the middle point, this is the top end, this is the low end. This is the line between them, and I need one more line between my point of control and my low end. I need to draw one more. Well, where have I had most price action? I might have to look left in order to see where a lot of price activity has been, which it just flew up and it has done. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. So we're going to have to use very little price history. It'd probably be this wick here. It'd probably be where this wicked up and this based off of. So if I made a guess, this would be your middle point of control, right? And that's how I would anticipate trying to play it until price proved otherwise, and I had to move my lines around. Oh, it broke out. I'm going to move this line up, and after it starts looking like it's ranging, but it looks like it is going to range soon, and that would be the mentality I have on it. Solana does not look like it's getting ready to range soon, but Luna does, so I want to be very clear with that. And that's how I would play this. So let's go to the 2-day chart again, put on the daily EMA, or the 2-day 10 EMA, get rid of these lines. it's a pretty young asset, so it's kind of hard to make these lines. There's not a lot going on here yet. Maybe put one in the middle. Make a parallel line up here. Yeah, honestly, folks, I don't know if Luna will ever touch that line again up here. That was just a little too aggressive really early on in its price action. I would guess that that line's not going to be touched again. Because if it kept being touched over time, and what I mean by that is this: if it kept being touched over time, you know, within a year's time, actually, let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's say within, the reason why I don't think this line will be ever touched again, let's say by October of next year, if Solana touches that line, it'll be at $35,000.75, or 30, whatever, 30, it'll be at $35,000, okay? What would the market cap be if Solana hit that? It'd be bigger than Bitcoin. So that's why that line is now out of play, because it can't, that's not going to happen. It's an unrealistic line, right? And that's how I got my BEPRO line right too, because it was too aggressive. If BEPRO even hit that line again in this October, it would have been bigger than Bitcoin. It was that aggressive of a line. Boom, boom. Stop. So I think that line's out of play, folks. So if I had to do a longer term guess on Luna, and this is my principal line right here, because it got that drop and the support. So I need to make everything parallel to that line. I would say this line might. In the short term, so in the near future, this line that connects on the 2-day chart, this wick here, but closer to the candle body, and then gets the resistance right here where it wicked up and hit it, I would say that this line's in play. So if Luna were to jump up to that line at whatever point in the future, that is when I would say to myself, not financial advice to you, now is a good time to be taking profits, perhaps much larger than a 20 bag, if it were to hit that line. Yeah, I think that could be its like markets. That line could end up hitting its market cycle top, and it could hit that market cycle top line much like once or twice before the market actual cycle top. Because if you can see here with time, let's say the market cycle top is in May 2022. Okay, or March 2022, it can, you know, have a really big rally, come down, consolidate again, do it all over again, hit it again, consolidate, and bam, market cycle top at about $1,000 on the third hit. The second hit could be 550, and the third hit in this example could be 171. That's a pretty aggressive line, but it could be in play. So that is how, on a long-term basis, I would be looking at Luna. So if you're new and you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit subscribe. Let me know in the comment section whether you want to be a Cryptilian or a crypto crackhead. Hit that thumbs up, and y'all just got Timified. We'll see you next time.